Hello. This is a Williams Diner pinball machine. It's made in 1990. It's a System 11. I think it's an 11C board set. It has a problem, so I kind of pulled it out of there so that I could troubleshoot it and work on it. Here, let me flip it on. I'll show you. You see the left side of the back box? How it's dark? You can see it says hamburgers, chili shakes, and so on up here. And then this side is dark, and all of the general illumination lights are out on that left side. There are a couple reasons that this would typically happen. First thing to check would be a fuse, but I don't think it's a fuse. I'm going to dig into it and show what I think the problem is, and hopefully I can get it fixed. So you can ride along with me and watch my success or failure. Alright, I have opened up my back box. Couple things. So if you look online, if you Google for the issue that I'm having, you will find a couple different likely failure points. One being these boards. If the left side is out, you focus on that board. Right side is out, you focus on this board. I can see that my flasher is missing here, so I'm going to replace that, but I don't think that's causing my issue. I don't think that a missing bulb would cause loss of power to this circuit. And I don't see any other obvious problems with these. I powered it on. I tried, jiggling these connectors to see if I would get intermittent light, and I did not. The next thing to look at is this. I believe this is a relay board. Don't see any obvious problems there. Again, I tried, manipulating that connector to see if I could get intermittent lights, and I didn't. And the next thing, and I think this is my problem, Williams System 11 games have this interconnect board at the bottom that supply power to different parts of the game. The connector that supplies power to the back box is this J7 right here. Now if you look, you can see, hopefully you can see that. See how it's burnt on the left side? That is a pretty common problem with Williams games. The way they were designed, that connector it's not adequate for the voltage that goes through it, and it heats up and it burns like that, and eventually you lose the connection. And I think that's what's going on. So the proper way to fix that is to pull the board out, replace the header pins on the board, and then replace that connector. The last time I did this, the recommendation was to use Trifurcon. That allows more than one point of contact with each pin. I think there's 3 points of contact. It kind of wraps around the pin, so it gives it more surface area to conduct, and that'll help offset the heat. So, it means I got to pull this board off, replace those pins, replace that connector. The other thing I'd like to do is replace all of the incandescent bulbs in the back box with LEDs. They draw only a fraction of the power, and I think that'll help reduce the load on the circuit and prevent this from happening again. So that's what I'm going to start with. It's time consuming. You got to pull each of these connectors off, label them with a Sharpie. I also have a diagram of that board. I'm going to basically go slow. Fortunately, those wires have some memory, so when you go put the board back in, they kind of want to fall back into place, but I'm not going to rely on that. You want to take some time, mark them as you go. So that's my next step. All right. After a long, painful process of getting that board out, you can see our J7 is right here. I can't zoom in too much on that, but what I can see is that the solder actually looks like it melted, and I'll bet I have some cold solder joints there. So I'm going to pop that whole connector out, that whole header pin set out right here on J7. Put in some new header pins. You can also see, look at this pin here on the left. I don't know how well you can see that, but it is toasty. So we're going to replace this whole pin set, and then we will replace the plug itself, and hopefully we'll have some backbox lights back. Okay, step one in replacing these header pins is to suck up all the old solder using my solder sucker, which I've done. I've removed all the old solder from these pins. Now I'm going to go through and pull each pin out. I'm going to heat each pad and pull each pin out. That will leave a bunch of blank holes here, hopefully. Okay, now I have removed all the header pins from the board on J7. Here they are. This first one is really toasty. I'm going to flip it over. One of the solder pads came off. I'm going to have to do a lot of continuity testing when I'm done with a multimeter to make sure that we have good continuity from that pin to wherever it's supposed to go on the back of the board, between there and that point. It looks like a test point anyway, so not that big of a deal, but we're still going to make sure we have continuity. I've got my new header pins right here to put in, so I'm going to get going on that. Okay, the finished product. There's our new J7 header pins. I have used my multimeter to buzz out every one of those pins, and I also buzzed out all of these pins. I can see someone else already replaced these header pins, and I wanted to make sure that they were still good. Let's take a look at the back. I checked for solder bridges. Among those connections, there are none. Likewise with these, that doesn't look great, but the board is burnt there. And I can see that the previous owner, when they fixed that, they made some solder bridges too up on the top. So I'm not super happy about that. You can see them right here. But like I say, I buzzed them all out and they look good. So now I'm going to button this back up, and then it's on to replacing that connector for the board, the J7, the burnt one. I got my new connectors here and my pins. These are those Trifurcon pins I was talking about. So I will get to that. Okay, I've got the board mounted back in the game. All connectors are hooked up except for J7, which is the burnt one that we're about to rebuild, and then J6, which is our power supply, but I don't want to hook that one up yet until I get, because I don't want it in my way when I hook this one up. Fortunately for me, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looks like 6 wires to hook up, so that'll be kind of easy. We'll put these pins on each of those wires and plug them into this housing, and then yeah, hopefully that'll do it. I'm going to get to that. Then I'll hook it back up, do a test, see if it fixed my problem or not. If it did, I'm going to replace all these bulbs with LEDs, and then I'm done. Okay, at this point, here is my old J7. That is toasty. And these are my old pins. here's my new J7. You can't really see it with the light, hardly. Let me see if I can improve on that. There, now you can see it's right there. It's marked left and right. And then I plugged in my power supply for the interconnect board, and I think I'm ready to test. I'm going to power it on with the incandescent bulbs just to see if the left side of the back box lights come on. Hopefully they do, and my all that work wasn't for naught, but we'll find out in a minute. And if that works, then I'm going to start swapping these back box bulbs with LEDs to reduce the draw. I'm going to get to that. Okay, it's the moment of truth. Look at that. Left and right side are both on, so that's good. Alright, I'm going to get to swapping those incandescent bulbs with LEDs, and then I'm done. Alright, I have swapped all those bulbs and flashers with LEDs. There's a bunch of them. And let's see how that looks. Wow, it's super bright. Yeah, LEDs have not quite caught up with the warm glow of an incandescent bulb, but that's going to draw a lot less current, and I'm happy about that. Here, let me put that back glass back on. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, I got the back glass on now. It is really bright, but I like that it draws less power, and hopefully I won't have to rebuild those connectors again. So I'm happy. I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to play it. Yeah, I hope this helps someone. I've read a couple of different posts online where people, either the right side or the left side of your back glass is dim, the lights are out. So hopefully this will give you some ideas of things to check. And if your connector is bad, you know what you got to do. Thanks for watching.